Well, Devin Heroux is a curling aficionado at CBC, but he's also a staunch CFL fan, and for many years a Rider season ticket holder. Might still be. Devin, what do you think about this news out of Edmonton here this morning?
Roddy, you and I have had, and first of all, great to see you. You and I have had so many conversations over the years about the evil empire being the mark of a championship franchise in the CFL. They didn't win a game at home this year. The handling of the Joey Moss situation, everything we heard out of that franchise this year was a disaster. And you saw it reflected in the attendance, didn't you? It was abysmal inside Commonwealth Stadium. They are and have been the flagship in a lot of ways of the CFL. And when you're as bad as you've been this year, and when you have so many distractions going around that team, I think it was the right thing to do. This is not shocking to me. I think you would probably agree with that.
No, I don't think it's shocking at all. My worry is the board of directors not only made this decision to clean house, but they put them all in their current positions. So I'm just worried if I was an Edmonton fan about the direction of the club, confidence in who they hire. You think they call Chris Jones to come back and run the whole show?
Why not? And I think he would probably head back there in a heartbeat, right? Some good memories there. And Chris Jones just continually finds a way to get back into coaching positions in the CFL, doesn't he? And, here's the other thing, Rod. I want to know who did the CFL schedule this year, because I am in my home province. It is playoff week in the CFL. And I'm going to have to be covering a curling game 2 hours away from a West semifinal. It's going to be one of the first times in my life that I missed a playoff game. But duty calls and the roar of the rings are underway in Saskatoon, and it's good to be home.
Wonderful segue, Devin, and that's why we brought you on. And our curling coverage of the trials is brought to you by Core Grain, doing the right thing for your farm, and for Great Western's Original 16 beer. I don't know where you want to start. Jennifer Jones and Tracy Fleury are unbeaten. One of them's 3-0, the other 2-0. Brad Gushu is unbeaten, going up against John Epping today. Brendan Bottcher winless, the reigning Brier champion. What are the surprises and big stories through 2 days, Devin?
A shocking start by Rachel Homan and Brendan Bottcher. No wins between those two really, really good curling teams. And all you have to do is look at what's been unfolding over these first couple of days, Roddy. And, last night, Carrie Anderson, the two-time defending Scotties champion, has an open hit to win a game. Hits and rolls out, gives up a steal of 2 in the 10th and to lose to Jacqueline Harrison. Speaking of Jacqueline Harrison, she knocked off Rachel Homan in the first game of this thing. So Anderson has one win at 1-2. Rachel Homan 0-2. Brendan Bottcher 0-2. This thing, this beast that is the Canadian Olympic curling trials, can literally shake the most seasoned curler to its core. We're seeing that right now. Brendan Bottcher missed an open draw to the 8-foot, Roddy. That's a skip's dream at this level to hit the full 8-foot, and he missed it against Tanner Horgan yesterday. This is crazy. But you said it, Jennifer Jones leads the way, and guess what? She has that look that she had in Sochi in 2014 when she won gold, because Jenny Jones can win a game all by herself. She's 3-0. She's looking comfortable, and I would not want to play her in Saskatoon this week.
I was watching some of the action yesterday on my TSN app, and I got a couple questions for you out of that. One is the crowds look like a decent attendance. Must be nice to have a crowd for curling events after the bubble in Calgary last year and however many days they were in there. What's that atmosphere like, Devin?
Yeah, so right now, Rod, they're average about 4,000 fans per draw, and that's pretty good for the opening weekend of an Olympic trials. I've been seeing on your show these recurring themes of how are we getting fans into the stands. The CFL attendance has me really concerned. But then, of course, you look at Commonwealth and what happened with that Canadian men's soccer team. And so I think everybody's still a little hesitant about whether or not they want to show back up at especially an indoor venue to watch a sporting event. But I think Curling Canada is happy that they're getting 4,000 to 5,000 people per draw. But I expect this to build. The one thing I will say is I know that organizers were hoping that the local team, of course, Team Dunstone, would have a run here, an 0-2 start. And of course, I don't think we can not talk about the fact that they had that lineup change literally at the 11th hour. Can you imagine, Rod? You wait 4 years for this moment. You place third in the last two Briers. You actually believe you have a chance. And then you have to make a lineup change at third. Braden Moskowy saying he can't play due to personal reasons. I have a lot of contacts in this curling world. I haven't been able to get any more clarity on this. Everybody very tight-lipped. But Colton Watt out of Winnipeg Beach, literally throwing rocks with his girlfriend at the club in Manitoba, 9:30 on Wednesday night, 2 days before practice. He goes from Winnipeg Beach to the bright lights of the curling world and the biggest Olympic trial stage, and the team just hasn't looked comfortable so far. They can turn it around, obviously, this afternoon, a huge game against Kui, and I'm going to call it probably a must-win, because if you lose your first three, in fact, in the history of this, if you lost your first two, no team in the history of the Olympic trials has ever come all the way back to win the trials. So that might affect the crowds, but curling is back, fans in the arena are back, and I know the curlers are loving it.
Amazing commentary there. And by the way, I'm going to text you. You still got the same number, same 416 number? I'm going to send you a text of what I've heard of the Brendan Moskowy departure from the curling trials, if you don't mind. And the other, as the curling fan that you are, I'm watching the game last night, and this voice came into my head that asked, how's the ice? In 2021, is that a question anymore? Remember how it used to be, Devin? I mean, you don't look as old as me, but you're close to as old as me. It used to be a thing. Is ice making and technology now a thing that we don't even question the ice in these arenas anymore?
No, it's absolutely a thing. It's an awesome question, Rod. And I do have the same number, so I look forward to that text. But it absolutely is a thing. And I can tell you, Greg Owasco is a head ice tech out here. They've had some issues in Sass Place. I still call it Sass Place. They've had some issues in the building. In fact, some of the drafts, some of the airflow in that building. And of course, I go back to my days hosting post-game show with the Saskatoon Blades. It can be drafty in that old barn, and it has been drafty. And what that can do is that can wreak a little bit of havoc on some of the hot spots on the ice. And what you get some patches, you get some frost on the ice. And so what was fascinating to me, and I've watched probably too many hours of live curling, but I still love it, is Greg Owasco walked out in the middle of the Saturday night draw, the second draw of this thing, walked into the dividers in the middle of the curlers, in the middle of the games, because he wanted to get a sense of what was going on in the building live during the game. And this is some breaking news that I can tell you that I'm hearing from the curlers. Late last night, they decided to paper the rocks. And if you're new to the game, papering the rocks is a very sort of technical thing. It's a secret thing that the ice makers have mastered. They sandpaper the bottom of the granite so that it gets a little grittier and that it grabs that pebble and gets a little more curl. They want more curl on the ice. So they're papering it this early. You'll remember back at the Brier in the bubble, some of the players were not notified. The rock patterns changed. It created a controversy. Now they're doing it just 2 days into this event. So pay attention specifically today. The teams that figure out the ice and those freshly papered rocks are going to be the ones that come out on top today.
Wow, I knew you'd have the answer. I've just texted you. Check your phone. Devin, thanks for the update. I think we're going to get you later this week. I really appreciate it, and enjoy being home and some wonderful curling.
Always good to see you, Rod, and I got the message. Talk to you soon.
All right. CBC's Devin Heroux joining us from Saskatoon and the Tim Hortons Olympic Curling Trials. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching the RP Show on YouTube. And don't forget, we're live daily on YouTube from noon to 2 Eastern. If you like what you see, hit subscribe. And if you like the program, check around for other segments of the Rod Pedersen Show here on YouTube.